Daniel, very nice to have you with us.
Great to be here.
I didn't think we'd see you so soon. I came across this album a while back and started playing it and loving it, and everybody started loving it. And the next thing you're here. It's a long way from Kentucky.
It is.
Tell me a little about Cold Spring, Kentucky. People have ideas about Kentucky from here because they know a bit about bluegrass, and they might know that there's some fine distilleries there, and they might know that they make Corvettes there and various things. But tell me a little about your part of Kentucky.
Well, Cold Spring is in northern Kentucky, and in a county that is bordered on the north and the east by the Ohio River. The river sort of swings up and loops around, and Cold Spring is half rural and half suburb. We're sort of in that strange, I don't know what you would call it, no man's land, honestly. We've got neighbors who have cattle and neighbors who live in condos.
And historically, what sort of an area was it? Because parts of Kentucky, of course, were coal mining areas,
Sure.
weren't they? And then parts of it are obviously bluegrass and all of that, and a lot of it is devoted to horses. And
Yeah.
So in terms of Cold Spring, was there anything in particular in that neck of the woods?
In northern Kentucky in general, there was a lot of shipping. We have Newport, Kentucky, and Cincinnati, Ohio is on the other side of the river. And so actually northern Kentucky, up until about, what was it, the 60s, Dan? It was known for its gambling and its brothels and its
it's
mafia.
It's like the Memphis of Kentucky.
Yeah, it was pretty dark over in the western part of northern Kentucky. It was pretty
East St. Louis.
criminal-ridden. Yeah, but actually a buddy of ours from Louisville, Kevin Ratterman, who's a wonderful engineer, he mastered In the Cool of the Day and is going to be recording my next record. But his uncle was the sheriff who pushed the mob out of Newport.
Great uncle.
Oh, his great uncle.
So you've got connections as well. You're well connected by the sound of things. Now, I suppose for a lot of people, Kentucky suggests bluegrass music. That's the first thing I think people think of.
Sure.
And of course, it's a big week in Kentucky. It's Bill Monroe's birthday, isn't it? There's a lot going on in Rosine this week.
Yeah.
That's a strange place.
I've
ever been in the barn?
I've never been there.
Yeah, the barn.
I believe it.
Yeah, but the other side of the Kentucky music, which people might have come across, and this is someone who has a connection with Ireland and has a connection with you, is Gene Ritchie. Because
Absolutely.
Jane used to come over here to collect music, and
Yeah.
and I got to know her through somebody from the really old school, an old guy called Davy Hammond, who was one of her, running mates back then, And you've got some songs from Gene Ritchie and so on. So there's a huge variety of music in Kentucky. It's not just the bluegrass thing.
It really is, depending on which part of the state you happen to find yourself. In eastern Kentucky, there's actually a really big sort of like rock, almost metal kind of scene right now. Like the contemporary music is lots of just like raw, really hard rock. And then in western Kentucky, there's a lot of bluegrass. And intermixed into all of that is a really strong strain of gospel music, of southern hymns and old spirituals, and of course you've got all the child ballads from over here, that influence, and Louisville has one of the best music scenes of any town I've ever seen.
Really? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean.
And is it distinctive, or is it just everything?
It's
in?
pretty distinctive. There are bands that are informed by old time music and more folk sort of things, but they're playing pop songs, or they're playing like sort of singer-songwritery stuff. Of course, My Morning Jacket is from Louisville, one of the best bands going.
And Jim James, of course, works with you.
Yeah.
Although he disguises his name for some reason.
He does.
He obviously doesn't want to be associated with you publicly.
No, he's a very mysterious man, and I think he actually doesn't like us very much. He always.
And so Daniel,
when we go out, he always wears a beard, and sunglasses. And
he started that once that album came. Now, in terms of your own specific background then, musically, Daniel, with all of that going on around you, plus the rest of America, and plus what you were getting on television and radio and everything else, was there a specific type of music that you were born into, for instance? Was there anything like that?
Yeah, I think so. And it's the music that on this last record. It's the spirituals and the hymns those are the songs that taught me what music is and how to love to sing and to want to play music and Yeah, I mean, because they sort of combine and distill all manner of different songs from all over the world. I mean, like bluegrass music, the fundamental instrument is the banjo, which is an African instrument, you know. So it's like all these things are weaving themselves together, and they end up together in gospel music a lot in the mountains.
And it's a different kind of gospel music to the black Pentecostalist Southern Baptist thing that you know that Al Green would come from and all
Right.
that, the Blind Boys of Alabama and so on. It's a very different type of gospel. It's not what Aretha Franklin does. It's a different thing.
Right.
So what sort of church was it? What sort of denomination was it that produced this kind of music?
Well, that's an interesting question. I mean, the church that I went to when I was a kid was called First Christian Church of Elizabethtown, Kentucky, and it was very sort of stoic, and everyone would sing hymns together. We had an organ and we had a piano, and that was it. Nothing else. There was no dancing. There was no guitar. If you tried to shake a tambourine, you'd be ostracized. You know what I mean? But there are so many different denominations of religious orders in Kentucky alone, but especially in the mountains, because every little town would have its own version of a Baptist church or whatever. So, and it might be quite different than the town across the holler, you know.
But it's basically Baptist then, isn't it?
A lot of it
Yeah.
is similar. It's very conservative. You know, there are churches that handle snakes.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there are churches that drink strychnine. You know, I mean, it goes pretty extreme.
The snake handlers are terrifying, aren't they?
It's scary. I think I know why they do it, but I don't know why they do it at the same time, you know.
Yeah. Why don't we leave it at that? But
It's
this
intense.
music is incredibly beautiful, I think, probably, ironically, because of all the restrictions on it somehow. You know, it became, simple's the wrong word, but it became very pure, didn't it?
I think so, yeah.
And did you learn these songs? Are these all these songs? Are they songs you would have sung in church, or were they songs that had survived, in your family, for instance? Or
Both. You know, the hymns on the record are songs that we would sing growing up, and that my grandmother would sing around the house, and my mother would hum, and just, you know, while she was going about her day. And that was really the whole force behind the record, was just coming back to those songs and making recordings of them for my family as a gift, and then the project ballooned into an album.